Do I think anyone can become a real estate developer in 2026? It really is about taking a very specific set of steps and following them and just doing them over and over again. There's some nuances to it and some other things that you have to pay attention to. But I believe anyone can do this job who's trained and who puts the time in. In this video, I'm going to show you how I can help anyone become a real estate developer. People always ask me, can I become a real estate developer? How do I do this? How does this work? Is it really true you can do this? And my answer is yes, 100%. In this video, I'm going to go over the steps that the BOGO method goes through and that I go through. Can you become a real estate developer in 2026? Yes, but there's 3 things you have to do. First, you have to do the work. I don't know anyone that's ever become a really good real estate developer or an expert at anything that doesn't do the work. 2 is you got to follow the steps and be very detailed about it. Where I see a lot of people make mistakes is that they're not detailed. And 3 is you have to follow through. I cannot tell you how many people I see do the work and then don't finish. If you follow those 3 steps, I can help anyone become a real estate developer in 2026. My name is Joe Kessy. I have done so many deals, I can't even remember all the deals. It's funny, I get asked, why should I listen to you? Who are you? I've always been the guy behind the guy when it comes to real estate development. I've shied away from the spotlight. And I've learned that I can't really help people learn how to do this if I do that anymore. Some things have changed for me to where I'm okay with it. I've done thousands of deals. I've built tons of subdivisions. I have divided land, I've built storage, light industrial, heavy industrial, vertical construction, low rise, mid rise, condo conversions, apartment complexes. Yeah, I've done a lot of different styles of real estate. What I've learned is that I always come back to this one method, which I call the BOGO method, the buy one, get one. It's always helped me when I've needed money or I've needed to come back to something that I know works consistently. I've spent a lot of time in the last 20 plus years honing my skills at getting really good at this. It's actually hard for me to break it down into steps and reverse engineer it because it's become a part of me. And to work through this has actually been a really good thing, not only for me, but also to document it because I want to make sure that if my kids want access to this or my friends want access to this, they know how to do it. So why should you listen to me? The reason is because I've built subdivisions. I've been the guy who has actually been in the dirt, excavated the foundation, put the foundation in, framed the house, done all of those things. And I tell you what, this beats it hands down every single time. Actually, I'd be a lot farther along in life if I hadn't been such a stubborn learner and had to do it the hard way first. I've been the guy on the 30th floor with the lawyers putting the deal together, building a subdivision. We had one project on the coast and I was spending $30,000 a month in attorney's fees. We'd go down there, meet these guys and spend hours trying to figure out how we were going to get this deal done, how we were going to get it across the finish line. I've had battles with state agencies, federal government agencies, wetland agencies, Division of State Lands, not only those things, but also special interest groups. That brings a lot of experience. What I've really learned from all of those battles is that common sense doesn't always prevail. I try to go into a project with common sense and do the right thing. When I say the right thing by the people who are going to buy this from me and the people who are going to live with it for the next 20 years. I love being a developer. Over the years, I've figured this out and broken it down into 5 steps. The first step is we got to find the deal. So what does that mean? First off, we got to find a market. Second thing we got to do is assess and make sure that this deal fits what we're doing. Now, I call this the safety net, and it's one of the most important steps, and I think a lot of people skip it. So we got to evaluate the deal. We got to make sure we're going to make money in the deal. We got to make sure we can finance the deal. We got to make sure that we can find investors for the deal. The deal's got to be a really good deal that attracts money. Number 4 is we got to execute. Execute is probably one of the hardest things because people give up there or they slow down, and I don't want you to do that. So the last thing we got to do is sell the deal. When you do a real estate development, you make your money when you buy it and you set it up, but you get paid when you sell it. Very important to remember that. Those are the 5 steps to real estate development. So the first part is we got to find the deal. Number 1. What does that mean? We're looking for a market that has high velocity, meaning there's a lot of buyers and sellers. We don't want to do any deals where we have to work our ass off to sell the deal. We want deals where we're stepping in front of progress and people are coming to us to buy the deal. It is a game changer when you're doing a deal. Number 1 is the market. Number 2 is we got to make sure it's a good deal. So what we're looking for is we have a really good idea. When I look at a market, I know where a deal is going to sell and where I need to be to buy it and about how much it's going to cost to develop so that I know that there's enough margin for us to make really good money. We're not buying deals in war zones. We're buying in markets where there's no bars on the windows, where people want to live. And actually, markets that are turning, I love markets that are turning, where people are starting to take the bars off the windows. To reiterate, we got to find the deal. First, we're looking at the market. We want to make sure it's a high velocity market. We're looking to make sure that there's enough money in the deal to where we can make money and everybody else that we bring along with us can make money. Number 3 is we're not buying in war zone. We've got to make sure that we run the numbers. We need to make sure that we're going to make money. We found the market. We know this market is on an upswing. We know this market's not going to go down while we're developing our deals. We're not buying in a war zone. I always make sure that I leave a third on the bone, meaning if I go at 70% after repair value, I know that there's 30% where myself and my investors can really make money. Now, here's where I see a lot of people go wrong. They say, okay, I'm gonna leave a third in there, but the sale price of the property is, if the sky is blue today and the sun is out, we're gonna sell it for an extra 15%. I'm gonna say no. Here's what we do. So what I do when I'm looking at a deal, I will go, once I fix this up, once I do all of these things and it looks amazing, what is the price it has to be at to sell it tomorrow? Because if I'm looking at the price that it has to be at to sell it tomorrow, I can put a little bit more on that. This is the number one spot where I see people make the biggest mistake. They overestimate how much they can sell it for and they underestimate what it's going to take to get it there. The second thing I want to bring on to is that I love details. Details make you money. Your details are in your numbers and what you do. I see a lot of mistakes when people put this together and are like, oh, I'm gonna rip off all the siding on the building. I look at them and I say, okay, so if we rip off all the siding and we place all the siding on the building and we spend $40,000 doing that, how much extra money are we gonna make because of that? And they think it's gonna look so much better. I'm like, it doesn't matter what you want. What matters is what the market wants. It doesn't matter if I like blue houses. If the market likes yellow houses, we're painting the house yellow. One of the things is when you're evaluating the numbers is, like I said, 70% ARV. We're evaluating the deal. So big part of evaluating the deal is the numbers. One is location, one is ease to sell. If I am not making a lot of money, but I still have to lift up the house, replace the foundation, I'm probably not that interested in it, or I'm gonna make it low enough. Evaluating the numbers is very important. We leave 30% on the bone for profit. That's just so that our investors, that's so that us can make it. So when I'm doing this, I may buy a deal, say it's a $500,000 deal. I know it's gonna cost me $100,000 to fix up this deal. It's worth $750 after repair value, so I know that it's $500,000 minus what it costs to repair. Then I have $250 in the deal, and that $250 is going to cover realtor expenses, the cost to sell it, holding costs, and profit. That's why I leave about 30%. It usually works out really well because I get paid very well and our investors get paid really well, and the deal moves along. Evaluating the numbers, very important. Don't buy a deal over 70% after repair value. I see people do it all the time. In some markets, you have to, otherwise you're not gonna play in that market. And guess what? I just don't play in those markets. For example, LA County, it's very hard to buy a deal 70% ARV. You can buy them 80% ARV, 82% ARV all day long, but 70% ARV is almost impossible. I wouldn't do a deal in LA proper. Those deals are 80, 82% ARV after repair value, so I'm paying 80, 82% of the finished value. Starter home in LA is 1.2 million bucks. So if you got over $200,000 left in there for profit and to finish the deal or make good money, if you have 20% in a $200,000 deal, $20,000 is not enough profit for the risk. 70% after repair value, you have to look at the market as well to determine if you can go higher than that number. I use that as a base. It's old school, but I've never gotten hurt at 70%. Step 3 is we got to evaluate the numbers. Here are the numbers. That means we want to buy this property, and after we fix it up, we are at 70% after repair value. If a house is $500,000 after we fixed it, we want to be able to sell it in the $700 to $750 range. Okay, so we have that margin. What comes out of that margin is realtor fees, holding costs, soft costs, and then also our investor profit. Some people cheat and they go higher than that, and some markets warrant it. It's only warranted in a market where you're doing $1 million plus. I know a market like LA County is really 80, 82%. Right now, I only know that because I've been looking there at houses that are 80, 82% because we're gonna sell them for $1.5 million. So the dollar amount goes higher, not just the percentage. 70% is our hard and fast rule. You can change that, but I've never gotten hurt at a deal where, oh, that's the basic numbers. Now that we've run the numbers, we're gonna execute. This is step 4. We are going to write down our offer, on a separate piece of paper, and we're going to double check it and make sure it's what we want to offer and that we can do the numbers at that, make sure that the zoning's there. A lot of people will not double check. I do not know why. I double check. It's always in my set of rules. So we're rerunning the numbers, making sure our numbers are right. We are double checking the zoning to make sure that the zoning fits what we want to do with it. We've met with the zoning department. We're double checking with our hard money guys to make sure this fits their parameters, and we're making the offer. We know what we're going to sell it for, how much money we're going to make, and how much we're going to put down. We've run the numbers. Buying it is only one part. The harder part is fixing it and selling it. And that's part of the execute piece. We know what it's going to cost. That means we have our contractors lined up during the 30 days between when I write the offer and I actually buy the property. I'm going to select my contractors. I always interview 3. My rule is 3. If we're in a new market, we interview 3. We always go back and do 3 every couple times just to make sure they're honest in their numbers. I interview 3 contractors always. Why do I do that? 1, it keeps them honest. 2, every time I interview a contractor, I learn something new from them. We can get different numbers, a new way where it's cheaper for us, where it's faster. If you don't talk to 3, you only learn one person's way of doing it. I found that you get so much more information out of interviewing 3. So I'm going to interview 3 contractors. The next thing I'm going to do is find a surveyor. I'm going to interview 3 surveyors. Why? Because all these surveyors do it a little bit differently. The one that is more detailed and drives you a little bit crazy, that's the surveyor to go with. Detailed surveyors don't make mistakes. When a surveyor makes a mistake and it gets recorded, it can be really expensive and hurtful. So we want to make sure that we're hiring the right people out of the gate to get the deal done the way we want it done. If I need an engineer, like a soils engineer or a land engineer, I'm not looking for the big firms. Yes, we do big projects and have the big guys come in, but we also do small projects. And I like the 1-2 man shops for those because they're flexible and work really hard to get the deal done because they want to come back and do business with you again. When I'm talking to hard money guys, these are the guys that are going to finance the deal. I talked to 3 of them. One guy charges 1 point and 14% interest, another charges 2 points and 12% interest, and another charges 3 points and 10% interest. It allows you to look and say, okay, how long am I realistically going to have this deal? Am I going to have this deal 3 months and then it goes up for sale? Am I going to have it 6 months and then it goes up for sale? Am I going to have it 9 months and then it goes up to sale? That really determines which one of those options I take. The other thing is those guys are a little bit negotiable. I don't always expect to get it, but I always ask. When you're dealing with subs and contractors, I don't believe in treating them bad or trying to harass them to get the best deal, because the best deal involves time, money, and attitude. That's the best deal, and that's what I look for. If you can get all of those things in a contractor that's helping you get through these projects, it's the best of both worlds. Your project will go easier, you'll make more money, your life's just going to be better, and it's going to be a better project overall. So those are the 3 things I'm looking for when I execute. I always interview the real estate agent when I sell it. That is a big key to this too. When I'm executing a deal, we've already done our numbers. We've already evaluated everything, put it on one sheet of paper. We've reviewed it. We've double checked it. Number 2 is any contractor that's working for us or with us, and we're putting that team together, interviewing 3. Always interview 3. The best contractors are the ones where you get a good price. They're knowledgeable about what they're doing, and they have the right attitude. It's all 3 of those that makes a good deal. It's not just about price. I've seen so many people make it about price. It's about all 3 of those things. We're looking at the timeline. We have a very realistic assumption of what we're going to sell this for. We need a very realistic assumption about the timeline, because that's going to determine how we do our hard money, how we set up our soft costs. We've evaluated the deal. Now we're going to execute. We've interviewed our 3 contractors. We're going to make sure that we have our supplies right and the plans ready, and we're going to push those through, and we know what our timeline is, and we're prepared to stick to it. Now we're going to go to step 5, and this is the part I like because this is where we get paid. Here's what I see people do. If I have a real estate agent that says, hey, we're interested in buying that house, I'm like, hey, the house isn't done. They will always say, oh, don't worry about it. We know what it's going to look like. I've never sold a house before. Thanks for the offer. I'll reach back out to you when we're ready. The second part of this too, when you go to sell something, is make sure it's done. Don't have a light hanging down, sitting on the floor. Don't have a doorknob, not on the thing. The whole thing, when someone walks through your property, is that it looks amazing. So they go, wow, if I don't buy this, someone else is going to buy it. That means you want to have everything done. You don't want to have shovels sitting out by the back door. You don't want to have trash in the garage. It needs to be staged. Everyone tells me, oh, they can see it. That's baloney. You have to have it staged because that's what sells it. When we go to sell these things, I see people make mistake after mistake. They do not include the fridge and the washer and dryer. And I'm gonna tell you, you can get a crazy, amazing fridge for $3,000, $3,500. That fridge is gonna sell your house. Why? Because it's got cool features and it gives people something to talk about. You're gonna spend $2,000 on a fridge anyway. What's another $1,500? $1,500 will sell the house. You might save a whole month's interest because of it. I always put in the washer and dryer, and I always put in some funky, cool, whatever. And I get the weird color. I get neon red or purple just because it's cool and different. It gives people something to talk about. If you were to talk to my dad and he was buying a house, there's no way he'd buck up for those. But my mom would have loved it. Think of your buyers in that sense. I love how I can store extra things here in the fridge and how the egg thing works. That's incredible. Or how when you do a load of laundry, it automatically dries it or whatever it does. All right, so we're gonna stage the house. We're gonna put the finished appliances in there. Also, this is very important because we're selling a lot. We're dividing land. We need to make sure that we're easy to do business with. Anyone who's looking at my lot, any developer, I'm gonna have a map of where the utilities are. I'm gonna know where we're gonna pull utilities. I'm gonna know how much it's gonna cost if we don't do it for them. And I'm gonna have it all set up so that when they buy my lot, all they have to do is take their house plans in and get a building permit. I don't want them doing anything else. Why? Because if my lot is ready to go and there's another lot, it might be a little bit better, but it's 30, 45 days out from being ready because the developer did not do all of those things. They're gonna buy my lot. In markets that I work in, we are known as the company that when you buy something from us, it's ready to go. And if it's not ready, I have someone there the next day making it ready. That has sold more deals for us than anything else. When people see that it's our project, they're like, I'll buy theirs because it's always ready to go. Big difference, game changing. So when you go to sell, make sure that 1, the house is 100% done. Everything is perfect. 2, it's staged, beautiful. 3, you put in the refrigerator and you put in the washer and dryer, you get the super cool one. 4, our lots are ready to go. We're easy to do business with. Put it on the market, we sell it. If you like what I'm talking about and it makes sense to you, I highly suggest that you book a call with us. We'll show you how we can bring you in and how you can make the same kind of returns that we make by investing alongside us. I do not take investment from anyone that I don't have investment in myself. So my companies, if we're doing a deal, my money's at risk as well. If you're interested, give us a call and we'll talk through some basic things. Looking forward to it.